Been a few days, it's time to go for another morning run, and conveniently enough, another pair of Bluetooth earbuds showed up. So today we're going to be taking a look at them. These are the Tronsmart Encore S5 True Wireless Stereo Headphones. And they're very appropriate for me. They are sweat-proof. These retail for about 45 bucks over on Amazon, and the thing that makes them kind of different, kind of unique and interesting to me is actually the way that they charge, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But other than that, just in terms of specs about it, it has 65-foot pairing range, IPX4 water resistance, means it should deal with sweat, but you're not going to be able to submerge them. It has the hook that goes around your ear, and I'm a big fan of that. And it's Bluetooth 4.1, so you can technically pair two devices and take calls from either of those devices being tablets, computers, and mobile phones. Here's your usage: 4 hours of talk or play time, 60 hours of standby with a wireless range of 20 meters. But let's go ahead and dive into the box. So here are the earbuds themselves. Got some plastic on them. Got a nifty little carrying pouch, Tronsmart branded, with this little pop-open flap on the top, as well as a micro USB double-ended charging cable, which again comes back to how these charge, and we'll get back to that. But you can see they're USB to 2 micro USB. And you've got a couple extra pairs of silicone ear tips and the little user manual. And inside of the manual here, it does say it takes 2 hours to fully charge the earphones. And one of the things I did kind of forget to mention, there's 2 different ways that you can pair this. This one should be kind of obvious. You can either pair just one of the earbuds to have mono sound, or pair both of them and have stereo sound. But then coming back to the earbuds themselves, of course you can see the Tronsmart branding. You've got left clearly marked on this one, which has 1 button on it, and right's clearly marked on the other, and it has 1 button. And the hooks for your ears appear to be a little bit flexible, so you can kind of bend them and mold them to however you need them to fit your ear. But then the part that actually makes these kind of unique and kind of interesting to me, the hooks can come off. So you just pull them out like this, and there's your micro USB charging port, because these have micro USB ports on the end of them to hold them in place. Means it should make a pretty firm connection, and it does go in there pretty solidly and clicks. I do worry a little bit about them coming out when I'm running, but we will see. And it does mention in the manual, once you power these on, they should pair to each other automatically, so let's go ahead and try to power them on. I heard at least one of them say power on. Okay, the left one here, and the right one just powered on, and they actually just paired to each other. And this one's flashing blue and red now, which means it should be in pairing mode. And it took a little bit of time, but they did actually show up here as another device, so I should be able to just tap on it and pair. And I just heard it say connected. Let's do a quick test of what the audio sounds like and how they fit and how they feel. Well, because these are sort of moldable, they do definitely clamp down on your ear if you want them to. And there we go. They actually do feel pretty decent, although they are a little big in this area, so that's a little distracting. Let's see how music sounds through them. I'll just put on the Spotify I normally listen to when I'm running. I'm listening to ads on Spotify, but it sounds decent to start off. Lots of bass. You'll have to let me know if there's any sound leak or anything. That's the other thing about them. It says on Amazon that they block out like 90% of external audio, but it's passive canceling, so there's no power to anything to it, but I can just barely hear myself talking, so I'm probably talking kind of loud. Sorry. Yeah, it's not the best sound quality I've ever heard or anything, but it's really not bad. I mean, for the kind of usage I'm going to get out of it, I think it's very usable.
And just for the sake of testing here, I decided to go ahead and make a phone call so you can hear what the audio sounds like, if you can hear it. Just on my quick testing a minute ago, it sounded fine. It didn't sound amazing or anything, but it's all right.
And for me, the final test is just taking it out and running with it, seeing how they work. So let's get that started. All right, that's 1 mile. So far, in terms of falling out, they haven't. They haven't even really needed to be adjusted, so that's good. I did a quick range test with them. I was able to walk about 20 steps away, so almost 20 yards away. So not quite 20 meters, but still impressive distance, considering a lot of little standalone earbuds, you can barely put your phone in your pocket. In terms of comfort, for the most part, not too bad, because this section is so big, it's pushing against the upper parts of my ear. So any longer than half hour to an hour, I would start to probably notice it. Also, very briefly, I tested these on my desktop computer before coming out, and they just did not want to work appropriately. I've got a bunch of other Bluetooth devices that I was able to cycle between with no problems, but whenever I set these as the default sound source, it just wouldn't play back appropriately. It was cutting in and out, it was going back and forth between ears, so maybe not recommended for desktops. However, once I've been out running, trying different music out, the bass, really, really nice, and there's a lot of it, but it's not muddy, it's not overpowering, and it's kind of hard for me to describe just because I'm not an audiophile, but the soundstage feels really big. And I just took a minute and listened to the clip that I just filmed, and unfortunately these are a little bit out of sync with the video. They're not out of sync with each other or anything, they're like half a second or less behind. So I mean, it was watchable, but again, I don't know if I would necessarily watch videos using these. Most of the time I don't watch videos using Bluetooth headphones unless they're like the Beats X, because they are so much in sync. But these do a pretty decent job. Now that I've rested for a second, back to running. Now in terms of the button, there's one button on each side. They do the same thing. One press does play or pause. Two presses takes the volume up a notch. And if it's at the very top level on your phone, it takes it to mute. At least with the iPhone, it doesn't directly control volume on itself. It controls the volume on the phone. And in terms of just comfort, again, an update. After wearing these for like 25 minutes, they're starting to get kind of painful. They're putting a little pressure on the top of my ear, which I don't care for. So keep that in mind. If you're gonna wear them for longer periods, they could get painful. You're gonna have to readjust. All right, I made it back safely. Early impressions of these, for short bursts, these are gonna work out really well. 45 bucks is not a terribly high price for a pair of wireless Bluetooth earbuds that have halfway decent battery life. Something of this size, normally you'd be seeing like 3 hours. To say they have 4 hours sounds pretty good. The charging mechanism is really interesting and unique. It adds a feature that a lot of these little standalone earbuds don't have, and that is the hook. But that hook could technically be removed, I guess, if you didn't want to use it. The biggest problem that I had with these was just that they weren't terribly comfortable over a longer distance. I ran for about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that, and this area of my ear, as well as this part down here, started to really ache by the end. It wasn't like stabbing pains or anything, but it was the kind of ache you normally feel after wearing a pair of earbuds for several hours. So just keep that in mind. But thanks so much to Tronsmart for sending these out for me to take a look at. Definitely like the sound quality, and I will actually probably continue to use these on occasion when I'm not using my Beats X, if the battery's dead, or if I'm going to the gym or something, because the sound quality, the bass, the amount of sound, really, really good, and that's where I'll leave it. So links to where you can find it down in the description. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already, so you get notified whenever I put out new videos, be they about headphones or speakers or drones or cameras or whatever else comes up. And hit the like button if you liked it. And I'll see you again next time. I'm gonna go shower because I'm gross.